Hi, my name is Keith, and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man. And today I'm going to be talking to you all about how to study crystals. And yes, the most obvious answer, of course, is by watching Florida Stone Man's YouTube videos, but even I don't have every single video about every single crystal ever. And I do encourage you guys to do studying on your own and not take anything I have to say 100%, as well as any other video you find online for 100%, because you guys can't just see something, accept it as knowledge, and then that's how you know something is because, this is a lot of public school systems faults, or just school systems in general. They don't really teach people how to study. Usually what you find on the first result of Google is what gets you an A in a class, like if you do a report on it. That's not actually good, because there's a lot to spiritual knowledge, there's a lot to physical knowledge, there's a lot to a bunch of knowledge, but in this video I talk about the spiritual knowledge. But the thing is, you guys really have to think for yourselves. This is what my YouTube videos are about, my YouTube channel, my TikTok. Everything I teach is for you guys to think for yourself, because when Florida Stone Man's not around and you're not at home to watch a video on what this does, you're able to think about what you need to do in the current moment to be able to pass a blockage. Now, and I study crystals day and night, all the time, like from when I wake up to when I go to sleep. From when I'm not even conscious, I'll be studying crystals when I'm asleep in the pockets of the astral realm, but I'm always studying crystals because there's always stuff to learn about crystals. The information online, and people are like, Florida Stone Man, why do you even look up crystal information online? Because it helps you know where other people are at. It helps you know where people base their any kind of information from. And the crystal information online is very generic. It feels like it's AI generated. It's very fluffy. It's like, okay, what does hematite do? Well, hematite is good for strength, courage, determination, foundation, stability. Okay. What's red jasper do? Strength, foundation, determination, stability. What's petrified wood do? Strength, courage, foundation, stability. Okay, let's go to the heart chakra. What does bloodstone do? Okay, strength, courage, determination. Well, and you ask yourself, and some of these, not all these, all of the descriptions online are very, condensed like that. There's a lot of them that are like that. Then you go to some of the websites that are really, really long and drawn out, and they're saying a whole bunch of stuff, but it's not really saying much of anything. Now, there are some websites that are, very good. I'm not going to say any websites on my YouTube video, because if they're not sponsoring me, then I'm not going to say their name. That's just how that goes. If you have any questions about certain crystals, I always make YouTube videos about them. I always will talk about them when you guys ask me to. But what happens when you want to do your own crystal knowledge? Here's the thing. With crystal knowledge, you have to look at the history behind each crystals. If there's myths behind each crystal, if there's a legend behind each crystal, you have to keep in mind, okay, where in this part of the world is this crystal from? What is that a land? What's the land associated with? Is the land holy? Is the land sacred? Is the land just somewhere hidden? Is it like a desert? Is it like a cold place? So I'm gonna give a few examples. Tibetan quartz is very powerful for protection, spirituality, and awakening. But why? Why? Just Tibetan quartz alone, there's quartz all over the world, right? Tibetan quartz and specifically black Tibetan quartz is very good, but monks handpick this. A monk handpicks Tibetan quartz if it's legitimate, and the good Tibetan quartz. I'm not sure about, I don't get anything that's not good, but Tibetan quartz is powerful. Now you gotta ask yourself, what's the history of the land in Tibet? It's holy, it's sacred, it holds lots of knowledge, it's connected to the heavens, it's connected to the earth. It's connected to the earth. It is the earth, but it's the earth connected to the heavens. And there's just so much ancient knowledge behind this land. There's things you have to find out on your own, because I won't say everything on here. But the energy goes into the crystal because that crystal was made in land, and it was handpicked by a monk. And now you have it, and it's doing something really strong. Yeah, because like if you have sacred ground and you have a piece of sacred ground plus the land, you literally have a. I have Tibetan quartz next to me. Cool. This is Tibetan quartz. So you literally have a piece of land, and just pulling crystals. Like, oh, here's a Tibetan quartz here, and here's an amethyst here. It's like, and you get a Tibetan quartz, and you get a Tibetan quartz, but it's a piece of land. But Tibetan quartz is really cool. Tibetan quartz is very powerful, simply because of the land it's from. That's one reason why it's so powerful. It's simply because of the land. Now, let's take a crystal such as K2, which I don't talk about very often. K2 comes from the second highest peak in the entire world. A holy place, a holy mountain. The closest place to the heavens on the earth. When people get this crystal, they're just knocked over by it. And a lot of people just get flat out fake K2. K2 should turn, it should start browning and turning like greenish over time. It should start, its color should change because the chemical composition of its granite should change. But if you're having a K2 and it just stays one color, then you should be worried. Kind of like with selenite. If you have a piece of selenite as jewelry and it stayed the same color the whole time, it was made in a lab. It wasn't just cut in a lab. It was made in a lab. Which a lot of people have fake selenite. I've seen a lot of people have fake selenite. There's a whole bunch of fakes. People are faking tiger eye now because sometimes the lab tiger eye looks a lot cooler. And people are going to get something that looks cooler, but they're like, oh, yeah, it's something similar to tiger. No. It didn't come from the earth. Now, and this is very interesting. For example, when you guys get... there's two kinds of malachite. There's one from South Africa that has more of a mild energy, which is good for people who don't want anything too intense. But the malachite from the Congo is wildfire. Like, malachite in general is wildfire, but malachite from the Congo can give someone who's unbalanced, like, anxiety out of nowhere. They're just like, what's going on? It's like, it's confronting you. Like, malachite does not discriminate. If there's something in you that's a problem, it's going to pull it out on the spot. It's going to show it to you. It's going to freak you out. Then it's going to release it. And then it's going to keep doing it for anything else that's there. Because if it feels like it has work to do on you, it's going to do a whole bunch of work until you're not feeling it anymore. So malachite will go nuts. And it doesn't care if it's been there for 10 or 20 years. It doesn't care if it's been there for 5 seconds. It's going to remove it. And it's going to... Like, for example, for people who wear malachite, and this is... for people who haven't mastered this, if you're unbalanced and you wear malachite, the people around you will get into arguments with you a little more often because it's confronting their energy too. And it's just a wildfire crystal. And you have to think about it like this. So, I'm talking about geology. I'm just maps. Land. The land, and think about all the history of the Congo. You guys have to look that up for yourselves to really understand what goes into the crystal. I'm not going to go into history lessons on here because I'm just teaching you guys. If you'd like to find out what each crystal does, sometimes you have to go back, and if you really want to study a crystal, it's not just studying about its properties, it's about studying the land where it came from. From my website, floridastoneman.com, which I don't say enough in my videos, I actually tell you where it's mined from exactly and how to tell them apart. For example, South African malachite, you'll notice there's more white banding, or it's still dark green, but it's going to have a little more white banding. Congo malachite, super green. It can have white banding, but it's going to be super green more often. It can be really dark green, almost like blackish green, etc. So the energy of the land is something you definitely need to look at when studying crystals. So you just went from studying crystals to studying history. How does that... It's because the history goes into the crystal. The crystal's been forming over all these years. And all these people who are walking across, having wars on top of the crystal's learning from the energy from the people above the ground to be able to help people. Like, this is a very advanced process. So that's the first thing you need to do in studying about crystals. So, and then the next thing, history is very big. So when I'm studying crystals, guys, you guys, some of you won't hear from me for a few days. It'll be 3 or 4 days before you hear back from me because I'm really just immersed in a crystal's properties, immersed in the history, immersed in just that energy. And I'm just like, whoa. Oh, you guys saw a crown. Hiding stuff in my hair, hiding crystals in my hair. Just the crystal's history is so intense. like so much behind it. Like, what about hematite? Because like online, you look up hematite, and it's just like strength and courage versus, hey, the Greeks and the Romans, they actually took this with them in battle. Some of them would put it on their armor. Some of them would wear it as a badge, as an insignia, which is a kind of badge. Some of them would put it as a hilt to their sword. Some of them would stick it under their armor. Some of them would put it in their shoes. Even cavemen put magnetite in their shoes because somehow they figured out it helps how long they walk for and how healthily it helps them walk for. And the yin-yang properties of balancing the meridians to helping them perform better. So you have to really ask. It's like, okay, wait. Forget about what hematite does for a second. Let's look at why are the Romans? The Romans are really good in battle. They were cool when you see them fight. But if you like learn about a crystal's energy, look where it came from. Look where that crystal came from. There's so much more to crystals than crystals. These are just blessings in disguise. Like when you guys get a crystal, especially from FloridaStoneman.com, you're getting history. You're getting evolution of man, just different processes of time going into the gemstone, learning about that, and you're basically wearing something it's helping you go through things so history doesn't repeat itself. Hematite is wildfire. The Romans, they want to beat their enemy. They find if they just wear a little bit of hematite, it's gonna help them get amped. It's gonna make them fight like no regular human fights. It's gonna make them perform and outperform any one of their obstacles to the point where, to their enemies, when they wear that hematite, they're scary. It's like, oh my god, what is this? Where did this person come from? How is this possible? These people are fear-struck when they see these people fighting with hematite, making them fight like cuckoo, like crazy. If you wear a hematite necklace, especially from FloridaStoneman.com, and you work out, the energy you feel when you go to the gym, because I'm talking about the spiritual aspect, the energy you feel, it's like you are on top of the world. People look at you different. They're just like, wow, this person, I'm like, what's this person doing? Like, wow, it'll help you. It'll help you lift heavier based on you feeling good mentally. So it helps your mentality. It makes you into a berserker in the gym. It'll make you, defeat goals, crush opposition. Like Bloodstone, for example. That was a crystal, and you have to look at the history behind Bloodstone, for example. So the history, the land where it's from, where it was most used. So same thing. And Bloodstone had the energy of invisibility. So the Greeks and Romans would use this in battle as well, especially for sneaking up on people. So you have to think. So if they're using this crystal to be more stealthy, what can I use the crystal for? You can use it to make yourself stealthy. And I teach you guys that as well. You wear a Bloodstone necklace from FloridaStoneman.com, and you walk into work and you say, I want to be invisible from all my coworkers. I want my energy to be dim. I want these people to not recognize me or not pay me any attention. I want to go into a room and not have everyone look at me. Then guess what? When you walk into the room, people, they won't really recognize you. The people you don't talking to you won't really talk to you, etc. So this knowledge translates from history into the current present. So studying crystals is something I'm always doing because you incorporate different factors of history and you put it together, and then you're wearing it. You're wearing it. You're wearing history. You're wearing the power of whoever. And the ancient Egyptians would use hematite and bloodstone. What else? And you guys can find this online too. There's different, and you might learn some crystal techniques as well. For example, if you pair multiple crystals such as the warrior crystals together, like hematite, bloodstone, and carnelian together, then you have like an elixir for fire. Because there's just different legends. Like in ancient Egypt, they're like, oh, the alchemists would use this when they were designing this for the people to make them stronger, and the architects who built the pyramids. And this goes deep. So if you start looking into history, then that's the base of where you study crystals. There's a chance I might make a part 2 for this video, because when I talk about studying crystals, I go all in. This is why you find different knowledge on my channel there versus any other channel. Because I go back to the source. Straight back to the source. No sugarcoating. It's what people have done in the past with this. So let's look at, okay. For example, in Mexico, with the shamans, they would use obsidian and they would do rituals to amplify the blessings that they have, and then to forcefully send back negative energy so harshly to the point where it cuts out their enemies. And if you, for some of those, for people who know any Mexican shamans, they're very vicious when it comes to defeating negative energy. Like, they don't just like St. Michael the Archangel, which actually, this is a really good example. Good job. Good job, Stone Man. Obsidian is the stone of St. Michael the Archangel as well. You see how this is coming together? This is actually, I can make a part 2 on this video, guys. Let me know if you'd like a part 2, but this is where you start this is where you start in the beginning on your crystal journeys. Look at the history of the crystals, because they're made in the ground. People are like, oh, they're just rocks. Just rocks can make a lot. They can make buildings. Just rocks can be a diamond. Just rocks can be something priests would use in their wine cups, such as amethyst, to keep themselves mentally sober. So when they have certain communions, that it would not be influenced, or when they have certain feasts or meals, that it would not be tampered with by lower level entities, so that they stay in a high vibration. Even in the Bible, it talks about the 12 sacred gemstones. Amethyst was one of them. I wonder why. But you just have to piece together pieces of history, and it actually becomes very easy. So I think I'll have to make a part 2 to this, because this is the surface of studying crystals. Look at history. Look what the ancient empires would do with these crystals, because everyone was using them back then. We're just getting caught up again. There's technologies that we haven't really tapped into that are buried from the past, because everyone has smartphones and is caught up in their present day moment, versus looking at, oh, those are just pretty gemstones. Oh, they're disguised as pretty gemstones, and they should be, because they hold a lot of power. They're cheat codes. But if you have any questions, guys, ask them in the comment section. This is a really interesting video. So now you guys have an idea about what do I mean when I'm studying crystals. I'm going to have to make a part 2. Because this is one way you guys will just have knowledge no one else has. And you might find stuff that I can't find online, because there's so much information online, but you don't stop at one source. You go through all the sources, and you find the common trend, the common denominator. And you're like, so this website is talking about the Romans did this with the crystal. This website, apparently in Greece, like on this island, the elders would use sodalite because it helped them channel the elements. Ooh, it helped them make contact with the water. And you look at the myths, and then which chakra is water? So it can help you. And you tie it into the color it is. So like maybe it helps you, and you connect the sacral and the throat chakra together. It helps you really express your passions in a sense that where you could not have expressed them before, and you have peace of mind because no one's interfering with that because of its protective properties, guys. There's a whole world of crystals that you guys don't know that you'll find on this channel, but I teach you guys how to study it yourselves. If you have any questions, ask it in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!